Okay, so let's get to some slightly good news. I say slightly because things are still not completely taken care of, but anyway. So, West Virginia transgender sports ban discriminates against teen athlete, appeals court says. So far, so good. Sounds great. West Virginia's transgender sports ban violates the rights of a teen athlete under Title IX, the federal civil rights law that prohibits sex-based discrimination in schools, an appeals court ruled Tuesday. Now, I hate that it's called sex-based discrimination because trans people, this muddies the water. This allows trans folks to claim that trans people don't know biology. Yeah, they know their biology. That's why they're transitioning. So, we have to update that somehow to reflect gender because gender and sex are not the same thing, and it reflects more what it is to be trans rather than sex, which is biology. Which, when this law was written, people just saw males and females, men, women, in that regard. So, yeah. To me, the language should be updated for that. The Fourth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled 2-1 that the law cannot be applied to a 13-year-old who had been taking puberty-blocking medication and publicly identified as a girl since she was in the 3rd grade. Oh, good, they're finally tackling puberty blockers because I've mentioned many times in my videos on trans women in women's sports. If you never went through male puberty, then what advantage has been conveyed to you? That would be none. And that's assuming that male puberty does give some permanent advantage. In February 2023, the court had blocked the state's bid to kick Becky Pepper Jackson off her middle school cross-country and track and field teams if the law were enforced. Judge Toby Haytens wrote that offering her a choice between not participating in sports and participating only on boys' teams is no real choice at all. Good on him. The defendants cannot expect that BPJ will countermand her social transition, her medical treatment, and all the work she has done with her schools, teachers, and coaches for nearly half her life by introducing herself to teammates, coaches, and even opponents as a boy, Haytens wrote. The court ruled in favor of the American Civil Liberties Union, its West Virginia chapter, and LGBTQ interest group Lambda Legal. They sued the state, county boards of education, and their superintendents in 2021 after Republican Governor Jim Justice signed the bill into law. This is a tremendous victory for our client, transgender West Virginians, and the freedom of all youth to play as who they are, ACLU West Virginia Attorney Joshua Block said in a statement. The court noted that Jackson had been living as a girl for over 5 years and changed her name, and the state of West Virginia has issued her a birth certificate listing her as female. And I have done videos before where I've mentioned that that's a sex, and so maybe we should add gender to these documents to show that she's not biologically female, because that's just, again, playing into transphobes' hands that trans people don't know what sex they were born as. Yeah, they do. That's why they're transitioning. It's just, yeah. The court said she takes puberty-blocking medication and estrogen hormone therapy. Starting in elementary school, she has participated only on girls' athletic teams. Which, hold up, again, now I do understand that puberty hits a bit earlier than when I was in school, back in the Stone Age, but third grade already has segregated boys and girls. They don't go through puberty yet, do they? That young? Why are we segregating them at this point? Anyway, BPJ has shown that applying the act to her would treat her worse than people to whom she is similarly situated, deprive her of any meaningful athletic opportunities, and do so on the basis of sex. That is all Title IX requires, Haytens wrote. While the ruling makes clear that the law is discriminatory, ACLU West Virginia spokesperson Billy Wolf said in a statement, "As far as we know, our client is the only child currently impacted by this law. If others find themselves in this situation, we encourage them to contact the ACLU West Virginia legal team." And you know why so far she's the only one affected by the law? Because that's how few trans kids enter sports like this. So, which makes the law against trans kids in the correct category to be more mind-blowing because it's so rare. So you're making a law against something that literally might never happen in your district. It's just, And then we have a situation like this where there's no advantage because she never went through male puberty. So why are we discriminating against her? West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey was deeply disappointed in the decision, the Republican said. Of course he's a Republican. I could have guessed that. His office said, except for the specific case decided Tuesday, the ban remains in place. I will keep fighting to safeguard Title IX. We must keep working to protect women's sports so that women's safety is secured and girls have a truly fair playing field, Morrissey said. We know the law is correct and will use every available tool to defend it. Okay, how are you defending women's sports when someone didn't even go through male puberty? Seriously, what are you defending? What safety? What security? Are you going to go after lesbians too because they might, be in the locker room and be hot for someone in the same locker room? Seriously, why are we attacking trans kids like this? It's stupid. In January 2023, a federal judge dissolved a preliminary injunction that was granted in July 2021. The judge also ruled that the state's transgender law did not violate Title IX. The appeals court noted that it did. Let's try that again. The appeals court noted it did not find that government officials are barred from establishing separate sports teams for boys and girls, or that they lacked authority to police the line drawn between those teams. We also do not hold that Title IX requires schools to allow every transgender girl to play on girls' teams, regardless of whether they had gone through puberty and experienced elevated levels of circulating testosterone, the court wrote. We hold only that the district court erred in granting these defendants' motions for summary judgment in this particular case and in failing to grant summary judgment to BPJ on her specific Title IX claim. I'm guessing they're basically saying that this is a case-by-case basis, that they're not saying that this opens the floodgates that they should allow any and all trans people on the team that reflects their gender. And that it's a case-by-case basis. If I'm reading that legalese correct. Dissenting Judge G. Stephen Agee wrote that the state can separate teams by gender assigned at birth without running afoul of either the Equal Protection Clause or Title IX. Okay. So explain to me then if this is completely about your biological sex and not about, the testosterone coursing through someone's veins. Yes, I know that's not how hormones work. Explain to me then, why do we have separate teams then, if it doesn't matter whether how much testosterone you have in your body? If someone, like in this case, this girl who doesn't have testosterone running through her body, not any more than any typical girl would, I guess, because she hasn't gone through male puberty, how is that not an inherent disadvantage to play on boys' teams who have gone through male puberty? I mean, unless you're saying that there's no difference, in which case, why do we have separate categories? Why don't we just let everybody play on one team, as opposed to separating them by gender? I swear bigots don't even bother to think even the slightest bit about what they're talking about. They just want to spout hate. Sports participation is one of the main fronts in legislative and legal battles in recent years over the role of transgender people in U.S. public life. Most Republican-controlled states have passed restrictions on participation, as well as bans on gender-affirming health care for minors. Several have also restricted which bathrooms and locker rooms transgender people can use, particularly in schools. Right, because the Republicans, who are so scared of creepers, are themselves the creepers. Because, dude, why are you, in order to enforce these bathroom bills and locker room bills, you would have to know what genitals of the genitals of the kids going into that particular bathroom and locker room. And how is that not creepy? West Virginia is one of at least 24 states with a law on the books barring transgender women and girls from competing in certain women's or girls' sports competitions. And it just, again, what about trans men? Nobody says anything about trans men. It's only trans women. The bans are in effect in Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Wyoming. And each and every one of those are the Republican state. Huh. Funny that. In addition to West Virginia, judges have temporarily put enforcement of the bans on hold in Arizona, Idaho, and Utah. But the Second Circuit revived a challenge last year to Connecticut's policy of letting transgender girls compete in girls' sports, sending it back to a lower court without ruling on its merits. A ban in Ohio is to take effect later this month. The Biden administration originally planned to release a new federal Title IX rule addressing both campus sexual assault and transgender athletes. Earlier this year, the department decided to split them into separate rules, and the athletics rule now remains in limbo. Well, that does make sense. I mean, they are dealing with different issues. Anyway, that is all I have on that article. And yes, I understand that this is a very dicey, very non straightforward issue because even the science isn't completely conclusive as to whether male puberty gives a permanent advantage. So I can get that, but I'm glad that the appeals court saw that this girl never went through male puberty, so what advantage are we claiming she has? She doesn't have any. So yeah. Hopefully I was really worried that they were going to say that they'll appeal to the Supreme Court, but the Attorney General did say he would do whatever he can to protect Title IX, or at least how Title IX should work in his mind. So maybe he's accepting that this girl doesn't qualify because she is on puberty blockers. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I have for this article. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.